I call this Economic Development Authority meeting on Tuesday, February 12th, 2019 to order. I see that we do have a quorum. Moving on to the minutes.
I'll offer a motion to approve the minutes from February 12th.
I'll second.
January 8th.
January 8th.
I'll still second.
All right. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion is carried. Moving on to item 3. We have the EDA Director's Administrative Report. Heather?
Oh, gosh. Let's see if I can pull it up here.
You can borrow my screen if you want.
I might need to. Hold on. Yeah, sorry, I'm going to have to. I'll just go over with you a few highlights. In the Section 8 program, as you're probably aware, we may go into another government shutdown on Friday. We have been notified that in the event of another government shutdown, Section 8 will receive funding for the months of March and April at a 99% proration. Also note the same for the public housing program. For that program, we have been notified we would still receive funding for the months of March, April, and May at an 88% proration. And then you see there's an update to the operating fund lawsuit that did get stalled a little bit with the last government shutdown and may get stalled again. But the government did deny, the court denied the government's motion to dismiss the lawsuit. So it will be moving forward. Under the Property Rehab Loan Program, note there was a new inquiry during the month of January and an application was sent out. And under the Garden Terrace report, just wanted to give you an update on the window issue. Management staff has not received any new complaints since they came over last month and made some repairs. And they have been back, I think they went back on Friday and checked on several apartments, and everything's good. The tenants are happy, so I'm happy to report that. And also, I'll just note for the first time in, quite some time, a year maybe, all rental units are fully leased, including Garden Terrace. So happy to report that.
I'll offer a motion to approve the administrative activities.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion is carried. Moving on to item 4, Public Housing Program. Heather?
All right, give me just 1 second here. Okay. This was the Broadway House exterior item that we're on?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
So there are some miscellaneous areas of the Broadway House apartment buildings, exterior brick, that are going to require some tuck point and masonry repair. The main area we're having issues with is the stairway access on the roof. There were repairs made to that area many years back, but they are no longer working, and when we do get a hard rain, we get a leak. And we have recently replaced the roof on that building, and we've had them back to check and make sure it wasn't the roof, and that has been ruled out. So we have been advised to make these tuck point repairs to prevent that leak from happening. There are a few other minor locations that will probably require some repair as well, as long as they're out there. And we also are including in the project replacing the 40 air conditioning sleeves. Every apartment has a wall air conditioning unit, and those sleeves are getting rusty and causing rust to run down the brick and stain the exterior of the building. So again, as long as we have them out there with the lift equipment, we'd like to replace those as part of this project. This project has been included in our 5-year plan, so we can utilize our capital fund grants to pay for the project. We've developed plans and specifications for the project, and we are asking to go out for bids. And just note, between the 2017 and 2018 capital fund grants, we have available over $125,000, which should be more than enough to pay for this project.
Will this be done in the springtime then, or summer, or just whenever it gets?
Yeah, as weather allows, so probably summer.
Any idea of any proposed cost for the repairs?
I wasn't able to get that. I called Hyman Construction and asked if they could give that to me, and apparently they are not allowed to do that for us. I even said I would pay them for their time to come out, but they weren't willing to do that. I could have made a guess, but it would have only been a guess. I have no idea. So what we're asking for is a price per square footage initially, and then we'll take the low bidder from that and have them actually come out and do an inspection and then give me an actual quote. So it'll be a 2-step process, so it might be a month or 2 before I get back to you with the low bid. So it will take some time to get through all of that, but we'd like to start working on it now so we can get it done this summer.
I'll offer a motion to approve the Broadway House exterior repair project and authorize staff to solicit bids.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed say nay. Motion is carried. Moving on to the public housing claims list. Heather, do you have any comments on that?
I do not.
All right.
Menards is $5.83 for supplies.
Yeah, that actually, we had one of our rental houses needed the patio door replaced, so we bought the door from Menards, and we'll pay the labor to have that installed as weather allows.
With that, I'll authorize the claims to be paid.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion is carried. Moving on to item number 5, which is the EDA funds to hire a retail strategies as a consultant. Chris.
Excuse me. Good morning. The chamber had reached out to Retail Strategies to come into New Ulm and look at the retail space available in New Ulm and possibly do some research to attract retail businesses to the city to fill a lot of the vacancies that we have. So they'd look at the Target building, some of the vacancies downtown, things like that. Inventory everything, find out what our retail traffic is through demographic information and surveys that they do using databases that they have access to. And then they go out to the different trade shows in the U.S. So the International Council of Shopping Centers, which is in Las Vegas. It's a really big show where a lot of the retail location guide or site selectors get together. And if you have available spaces, you can show them and see if that leads to possible them possibly opening up shop within your city. The contract that they're putting forward is $40,000 a year. They would like a 3-year commitment, but we could cancel that contract at any time if we're unhappy with their services. The partners that would be involved at this time are the city, the EDA, the NUEDC, and the chamber. The chamber is looking at pitching in about $5,000, the NUEDC at $10,000, the EDA at $15,000, and the city at $10,000. If one of the partners does drop out, I would recommend that the EDA pick up that cost to hire this company as a consultant. They have the connections necessary in the industry to get the people to, or the clients to come and look at our city. When I moved out here, because I would go to the Las Vegas convention, San Diego, all the connections that I had, I called them all. None of them worked at the companies anymore, and the one that did retired at the end of last year. So it is important to have those relationships so you don't have to rebuild and kind of restart those over. And this company has those relationships with the people that deal with the Midwest and East Coast. Any questions?
Chris and I sat through this presentation about a month ago, I suppose, when they came to town, and I would say it's a little bit more of a city project than a chamber project, because we brought them to our community. They're currently working in Roseville and Albert Lee, or was it Austin?
Albert Lee. Albert Lee.
Okay. So they're already currently working in 2 areas in Minnesota. They'd love towns of 15,000 or less. This is basically all they do is try to fill storefronts. The first year is a lot of analysis and tracking every open building that we have available in the community, and trying to see what would fit or what would match into those buildings, including our Target store. They do lay claim that they didn't fill the Austin.
I think it was Austin Target.
Target in Austin that's empty, but they will claim that they helped seal the deal, is what they said. So there were already businesses starting to move in there, the Hobby Lobby and some other stuff that was moving in there. But we're real impressed, and I think what I like about this whole project is we're all coming together. We all want retail business in our community, so we wanted to propose this to all 4 agencies to all have some money put into this project, so we're all working on it together. We all have a seat at the table. We're economic development, so it fits really well with this particular group. And as Chris said, the chamber already did put in their 5,000. Strongly supporting this as well. They're going to meet on the 19th, I believe, at 2 o'clock at the Grand. And for at 2 o'clock for a presentation on what they're all about. So anybody's welcome to go to this. They're encouraged to attend, and I think it's like an hour presentation depending on the questions. And then they'll come in front of the city council on the 19th for, I believe, 10,000 from the city.
Yes.
Is that what we're doing? Yeah. So I'm hoping this passes, and I'm excited about it. I want to make it real clear that they're not expecting to fill every store in the first year. The first year is a lot of that analysis part of what would fit in the Target building, what would fit in X building, and then getting out and starting to meet those people and go to the shows and start making the calls, but they'll stay in touch with us with monthly reports and letting us know what they're doing, and so I've been real impressed with what they're all about. So I think Chris and I can answer any questions that any of you might have on this.
Do you think they'd periodically come to like an EDA meeting just to give us updates too?
They're not.
I don't think, they possibly could, but their information is available to the website. So if you would like that information, I can give you a presentation or an update, once a quarter or every other month or whatever.
Well, do they report back to a local?
Yes,
Yes.
They want a point person.
Yeah, there
Okay.
will be a point person. And then a couple of people will have access to the website to see what they're doing, because they'll log, the emails, the phone calls, all that stuff will be on a website that we can access to see what they're doing. And economic development is a very slow-moving job, essentially, because you can talk to someone for a year and then all of a sudden they pull out because the time isn't right, or something else came up. But part of their proposal is that they guarantee, I think it was 10 leads essentially for businesses that are really want to open up, not like, hey, call this person, they may be interested. Like, no, these people are interested, you need to call them and see if you can work out a deal to get them where they want to go.
And I think what I like too is that we get so many people asking, what are we doing about the empty stores downtown? And the city gets asked, the EDA gets asked, the chamber gets asked. Well, this is something that we can do. So when the people that have talked about this, the 40,000 per year, it's really not a lot when you look at it. If we can get a half a dozen stores open in the next couple of years, that pays that all back and then some. And we have more jobs, and it's just a positive all the way around. And as Chris said, we can, if we're not happy, we can say goodbye. He also made it very clear that if any of you want to just call and talk to him between now and the 19th, he would be glad to do that as well. But he's going to come down on the 19th and give everybody an explanation of what, from all these different committees, but any general public as well, if they have questions or want to see what this committee or this company is all about.
Well, it seems like we should make a commitment for the full 3 years if we're really going to see the
Probably.
benefits.
Yeah.
So maybe all the stakeholders locally, we should talk about getting 3-year commitments from them as well. I'd hate to throw money in this year and then 2 or the 3 or whatever some of the other stakeholders pull out or whatever. I don't know.
I mean, I would recommend, like I said, I would recommend the EDA. If any of them drop out at any point, that the EDA just picks it up to keep the thing going. I mean, it would be unfortunate if they did pull out, but to me, the presentation and what Retail Strategies, when they did their presentation, was basically everything that I would do and everything that I said I would like to do to get businesses here. So I know that they know what they're doing, and they are very, based on their presentation, they're very knowledgeable, and they will do what they say they're going to do. So the value is there.
Where are they based out of?
Was that Georgia?
I know. It's Alabama. It's their main office. And it was kind of interesting. The last comment the guy made was, if we, you accept us, we want to. Somebody's got to take me ice fishing. He said. So
I volunteer.
he's had a couple volunteers already. So
Is it
Go ahead.
Is it primarily a retail focus, or is it restaurants, a variety of businesses that they contact?
Retail would be everything, including restaurants, that falls in there. And they would do the analysis to see if we could have more restaurants, the capacity for that. But if there's a specific, if you want, say, please focus on Italian restaurants, they can focus on specific restaurants, or like, no, don't focus on any restaurants. We want more of this. They will tailor that to what the city, and the commission feels is the right way to go.
Yeah, if they see X number of flower stores, for example, and we got enough, they're not going to push to fill flower stores, or whatever. So
it mentions project fees are additional, like a request for a special assignment. What would that probably be?
I don't know. I can ask them and get back to you on that.
Yeah, just see in the past what they've done for special assignments, just to give us a flavor of what's out there. Not that I want to tack on more money, which I don't, but I want us to be aware of what a project fee would be.
Okay.
Chris, are you aware of, in what year of the cycle they're in, like in Albert Lee? Are they in year 1, year 2, or year 3?
I think they're in year 2 now.
Okay. And have we spoken to anybody from the Albert Lee community as far as their feedback?
I know Cara has spoken to the people out in Albert Lee, and they're very impressed with the work that they're doing, and they enjoy it.
And they've sent out some newspaper articles about them starting in those communities, so we've seen that as the chamber board did. And we could get that out to you folks as well.
So, Chris, who would be the point person
We are still determining that.
or point organization?
Between the 4 on the table would be to myself, Cara, and probably Shannon from the EDC would probably be the 3.
Or you.
Yeah, bring me in there. Ideally, I would like it to be myself or Cara, and then we'll let the group decide who that should be. But ideally, Cara or myself.
We have to give them the name of the contact person once. And the contract, what we're hoping for, will start effective March 1st. So if everybody, and even if everybody doesn't agree, and we come back and fill the void of anybody who doesn't, or the city, they really want to get going on March 1st because their first trade show, like you said, is that
coming
first
up.
week of March. So,
I guess I agree with Dan that it would be nice to get a somewhat of a firm commitment from everybody involved here that they are in it for 3 years versus saying the EDA will pick it up, because this is something that should be a joint project and it should have that commitment. To me, it sounds like they're a not a site selector, but a warehouser of what's available for retail, similar to industrial, and making it known to everybody, and everybody knows that retail has changed substantially. To do nothing doesn't make sense. So while I'm not overly optimistic, I mean, hopefully we will see something come of it, and we have to do something.
Did they reach out to us, or in the past, having known them, did you reach out to them, or just how did the connection come about?
Les met with them at a
yeah,
conference.
2 years ago, I was at the National City Council Conference, for the lack of better words, and I ran into them and had a discussion with them and talked mostly about Target at that time, and him and that company and Cara had some discussion, and then when I came back this year, I saw him again, and I was like, let's talk some more. And so then we got this meeting set up, and we brought him into town, and here we sit. So this is the second group to make the approval, and then this week will be the EDC, next week will be the City Council.
Do they, or could they, or maybe they don't, maybe they just give us the information, but can they suggest highly to a company to come to our community?
Oh, I think they do more than that. I think they're in there trying to find who would fit inside the Target building, for example, or any of the businesses we have in our community.
Target would fit well.
Target would fit wonderful.
Yeah, they basically do all the legwork with the retailers to get them interested. So they present the data, the demographic information, the sites. So they pretty much do all that legwork.
And our
then they
incentives.
assist us with kind of sealing that deal, getting him into the actual storefront, and it'll be up to us up to the city, the incentives that are involved to help that transaction happen. But they're essentially, your retail recruiter that'll come in and get everyone to the door, and then we just have to open that door, get them in, essentially.
The other thing that they talked about was, because I did ask him, I said, if you find that the city of New Ulm doesn't have the right type of incentives to bring businesses in, will you tell us that? And he said, oh, absolutely, we will. We'll suggest, several different options for us. So it might come back to this group, it might come back to the council. So if we have some incentives now, but maybe they're not the right type, maybe they're not enough. So I think we'll get some feedback on that too as they analyze our city and start looking at everything. So
It sounds quite comprehensive. I mean, and I think from what I'm reading, the analysis they do is going to be both on the community side and then on the prospective retailer side to make the best matches they can.
Sure.
So I know it's a lot of money, but I get the impression it's going to be pretty well spent. At the end of the day, I don't know if it's going to meet what people's expectations are, but I think it's going to be a much better alternative than to what's happening right now. And we're seeing just the negative things happen. So I think we need to take and make a positive response. And I think this sounds like this is the right avenue to pursue. So I fully support it. Well, and I don't know, timing wise, I guess, if the city council or the EDC decide they don't want to do it, we're not going to have the opportunity to step back in before that March 1st deadline unless we were to call a special meeting or something like that. But I want to make sure this gets done. That's my only fear, is that we don't necessarily have firm commitments at this point, but I certainly think this is right up the EDA's alley and we should fully support it.
All right, looking for a motion.
I'll offer it.
All right,
I'll second.
Well, we need to know what the motion is, because there's a $15,000 request from this particular group.
At this time, that's what'll make the motion, for the requested amount of $15,000, yes.
What are we asking from EDC, 10?
It's 10.
So could there be a motion, just in case, of up to 25, I suppose? I don't perceive that this is going to be an issue with any of the groups, but that might solve our issue.
If they know we're gonna pay, are they gonna pay?
Oh, I think they want skin in the game, too. I think they want to be at the table.
All right.
Yeah. Chamber didn't have this in their budget at all, and they want to be at the table. They want to be sitting there as this group is working. So I don't perceive it as an issue, but I can't, and same thing with the city council. I can't speak for my four fellow council people, but I think they're going to strongly support it too. Because I think we just need to do this. So I don't know if that,
Do you want to restate it?
I'll amend it to add the additional amount, yeah, that's
So we
up
wouldn't
to
have to have a special
25,000, yeah.
I'll second it.
All right, further discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion is carried. Next on our agenda, we have the Economic Development Director, Assistant City Manager's Activity Report. Chris?
So just finally closed on Windings, their revolving loan and the MIF agreement that was closed yesterday. So they are good to go with finishing up their project. That was a long hurdle to get through, but we can now get through the process, and Windings was very good in being patient, getting through the MIF process. They brought to light an issue in the state contract, and it was kind of the project that got the ball rolling for them, for the state to look at that contract and change it, because the way it was worded, no one would use the program. And so that was kudos to Winding for sticking that out, because they were on the fence for a little bit about moving forward with the program. Continuing working with DLC for their revolving loan. They don't quite need the money yet, but they're getting close. And then something that's come up, the city is interested in purchasing a lot out at the industrial park, and we currently, the city currently doesn't have the funds available, so we are looking at coming to the EDA to borrow some money. We don't know the price yet, but it's will probably be less than 150,000, and a business is interested in doing expanding up there, so that'll probably come in the next month or so. And we put our offer out. They're going to do their research to make sure it's fair, and then they're going to get back to us with the price, and then we'll bring that before you. And what will happen is we would do tax abatement on that property, and then repay the EDA back with the tax abatement that we get for that.
And that's one of the lots currently owned by the EDC?
No,
No?
it is
Okay.
not.
Sounds good. Congratulations on Windings.
Thank you.
Wonderful,
Yeah.
wonderful.
Have you heard anything? We were at the housing conference. There was some interest.
I am setting up a meeting probably in 2 weeks.
Okay.
To talk to those individuals.
Perfect.
We'll probably talk to, is it Southwest Minnesota Housing Partnership first, and then was it Herzog or Hedgehog second?
Okay.
Because I know the first one was interested in both Garden
Just
Terrace
to fill
and
the rest of the
Milford lots.
commissioners in, at the last Housing Institute, there were some discussions and developers were brought in, and there's been some interest in, by developers of purchasing the remaining lot at Garden Terrace to privately develop into more multifamily housing. So the hope is we can bring in some private money to look at future development there. So very early stages.
And
But
then they were also, the first one was also interested in the rest of the Milford Heights lots as well, developing those. So that's why we'll talk to them first. The
Right.
second was more interested just in the Garden Terrace and not the Milford Heights. So we'll see how that goes moving forward.
Get some more housing in, but not on the EDA's dime, so.
Yes.
And,
Well,
probably
the middle school's being developed too. It's
Yeah,
finally-
that's
finally-
underway, yep.
Finally got some work going on in that building.
And then mid-March, we'll hold what I would like to refer to as coffee, donuts, and dollars. Essentially, we'll get all the brokers and bankers in to probably here to talk about the down payment assistance program and get that rolled out. We're just ironing out some of the details, making sure it will flow correctly, and we're not going to have any issues, and then we'll release that to everyone.
Great.
Sounds good.
I'll offer a motion to accept the Economic Development Authority report.
Second?
Any other discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion is carried. And with that, that concludes our meeting. May I have a motion to, or no, I'm just going to adjourn.
Can just adjourn?
Have a good day, everybody.
You're
Be
the
safe
chair.
out there.